an alien, a plane, or a bird.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
We are not alone. Humanity has known this truth for long, but sadly, there's been little to no evidence to back this up. From video clips and reports from individuals to leaked images from NASA, nearly every piece of evidence to prove alien existence has been waved aside. But now, the US Congress is finally revealing intricate details about various eyewitness encounters with alien civilizations in the United States.
And you know why? Do you really know why? I'm going to tell you why. It's because everyone has a smartphone now. So they're videoing these things, and then people are starting to talk worldwide. It's like, what the heck, how come the government's not talking about this? What is this? What is that? That's why, that's just my belief, why Congress and the government has decided to start revealing this information to the public. Simple as that. That's just my, take on it, so to speak. Oh boy. Anyway.
Why is the Congress doing this now? And who are the eyewitnesses to testify?
I just explained
Will this solve the mystery of aliens living among us? Join us in this video as we explore why the US Congress finally showed recovered non-human aliens from crash sites.
I just explained that.
The mystery of aliens and outer world intelligent beings didn't start in our 21st century or with the United States Congress. From the dawn of time, many scrolls, myths, and legends have suggested that humanity has had contact with aliens time and again. The existence of several unexplainable structures like Stonehenges and the pyramids has also been a source of controversy, with many wondering whether these structures were built by otherworldly beings. Apart from these, there are more direct clues and evidence of alien sightings, like the 15th century painting called the Madonna with Saint Giovannino. This painting has been nicknamed the UFO painting because behind the portrait of the Virgin Mary is what appears to be a UFO hovering over the air. Seeing it dates back to the 15th century makes you wonder.
I don't think that looked like a UFO. That's just me. I think they're a little stretching it there.
Have aliens been living among us? This isn't the only ancient proof of alien activity, though. Several other paintings and scrolls in India give a similar message as the one depicted in this painting. Plus, archaeologists have always found ooparts over the last few centuries. Ooparts are prehistoric objects found all over the world that do not fit with their determined age or time. For instance, imagine finding an AK-47 rifle, only that it's buried 200 feet below the earth and is 500 years old. Certainly that shouldn't be possible since AK-47 guns were only invented in 1947. But scientists have seen many out-of-time artifacts like these pop up all over the place. For instance, in 1991, some tiny coil-shaped artifacts were found near a riverbank in Russia at a depth of about 40 feet. They seemed very complex and sophisticated, like something we could do with our technology. But geological dating showed that these objects were about 20,000, 300,000 years old. To make things even more suspicious, the objects were made with a material that closely resembles typical components made with nanotechnology.
Hold the horses. Hold the horses. Okay. How in the hell do they... Wait. How can they determine the age of an object that's not from this planet? Okay, I understand archaeologists can tell how old a human skull is, and you could cut off a tree trunk and basically tell how old that tree is, this, that, and the other. But really, I just have a question about that. How can they tell how old something is that's not from this planet, that's from somewhere else? How can they determine the age of it? They said 300,000 years old. How? Oh, that's just me.
All the objects were manufactured, so it begged the question, how did humans have the technical knowledge and tools to build such gadgets 100,000 years ago? The only logical explanation is that they were made by an advanced civilization that may be out of this world. But alien reports are not just recorded in scrolls and artifacts. There are many modern-day sightings of UFOs, especially in America. Recently in Las Vegas, police officers were faced with a 911 emergency, as some locals had reportedly sighted green aliens in their neighborhood.
I believe
One of the officers even admitted to seeing something that looked like a shooting star land in the distance. And a few locals there claimed they saw some weird-looking green creatures about 8 to 9 feet tall.
Dang.
You see, for decades, Americans have encountered UAPs or unidentified aerial phenomena. From New Mexico to Florida, several locals have had first-hand encounters with what they believe to be aliens. But most times, these events get covered or swept aside by the government, which is why there is hardly any concrete proof or footage of aliens
For those who don't know what a UAP is, it used to be UFO.
in public space. These proofs exist, only that the government keeps the documents classified. The Congress shared that one poll revealed that about 68% of Americans believed that the government was hiding information about UAPs from them. Another one revealed that Americans were generally unhappy with the way the government handled reports of UFO sightings. Even when UFO eyewitness reports come from credible sources like doctors, scientists, and civil servants, the government would still give it the silent treatment. While giving his speech, Member of Congress Tim Burchett admitted that they had faced many roadblocks from the higher powers in their attempt to uncover the truth about UFOs. He also admitted that the situation had been disturbing the United States for a long time because several people had met him to share their experiences with UFOs, some of them congressmen like himself. And most of all, he himself was a living witness to the existence of aliens and UFOs.
Oh, yeah?
One group of people that have encountered UAPs most frequently are pilots. For decades, pilots have reported seeing strange things and objects in the sky. But for fear of losing their jobs, these eyewitnesses don't push further to inform the public about what they saw.
I don't think it's for fear for losing their jobs, me per se. I believe they were put on a hush-hush list. Shh, don't say anything.
For instance, a pilot named Gordon Cooper, who flew advanced aircraft like the Mercury 9 and the Gemini 5, reported how he saw an entire colony of UFOs on a particular trip. This happened in 1951. He saw several UFOs of different sizes flying over Europe in the direction of east to west. They were very organized and also appeared to be in fighter formation. Cooper had another encounter with UFOs in 1963, about 10 years after the initial incident. On this encounter, he was flying solo when he spotted some strange green glowing object flying towards his aircraft. The strange flying object was even picked up on the radar. Cooper managed to get out of the way, but he hasn't forgotten the incident, nor the one of 1951. Back then, Cooper would always report to superiors that these beings were visiting our planet from outer space. But nothing was ever done about it all. His case is just like that of several other pilots and space personnel. Even the famous Neil Armstrong reportedly found aliens during his Apollo mission to the moon with his partner, Edwin Buzz Aldrin. Rumors have it that during that mission, Armstrong sent a secret message to NASA which said, "You wouldn't believe it. There are other spacecraft out here lined up on the far side of the crater's edge." Armstrong never owned up to these claims. Neither did he deny them.
Do you think he was put on a hush-hush list? I mean, somebody said, hey, I don't want you talking about this, okay? You keep... So he didn't deny it or he didn't claim it.
And so it makes him concerned, as these men typically risk their lives every time they encounter these UAPs. Also, the way the government discredits these eyewitness reports gives cause for concern. He even stated that the government employs excessive classification of information that would have been crucial to enlighten the public about aliens and strange, unexplainable aerial phenomena. Giving his own experience, Graves explained that what he encountered was an advanced UAP. It happened in 2014 when Graves was still an F-18 Foxtrot pilot in the Navy. He had been stationed at the Virginia Beach, and after his team had finished upgrades on the jet, he started detecting strange objects from the radar. The signal was so controversial that he thought it was an error, but it wasn't. It turned out to be a UAP. The flying object appeared to be a dark gray cube inside a clear sphere. It was about 5 to 15 feet in diameter and came very close to the aircraft, about 50 feet. Graves reported that their commander quickly called the squadron to return to base. But then, that was it. There was no mention of the incident, and no one was allowed to report such sightings.
Yeah, I guess.
According to Graves, these sightings became more frequent, and superiors often briefed pilots on the risks of encountering UAPs during flights. These events are what prompted Graves to form the Americans for Safe Aerospace. The organization acts as a safe place for UAP eyewitnesses to share their encounters. Most of the reported encounters come from veteran pilots, and most of them see these UFOs in lower Earth orbit or high altitudes of 40,000 feet. The second witness was David Grush, a former senior intelligence officer with the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. Grush admitted he had been a part of the UAP task force and a very active whistleblower. He admitted that he had received several reports from multiple members of the federal intelligence community that the government was operating in secrecy regarding UAPs.
He revealed that? Wow. He's brave.
He also revealed how several esteemed civil servants had presented him with information concerning UAPs, with many of them having photographs and official documentation to back their claims. David Grush made a shocking revelation that during his years in service, he got information about a UAP reverse engineering program that had been reportedly going on for decades. This meant the government had been trying to reverse engineer alien technology. Grush, however, wasn't given access to these files. He added that his whistleblowing brought much retaliation from his colleagues and high-ranking officials.
I'm sure.
But he hopes that his actions would aid in better transparency. The third witness is David Fravor, a retired Navy commander. Fravor encountered a UAP he calls Tic Tac. This encounter happened back in 2004 when he was a commanding officer of the Navy strike fighter, Squadron 41. One day, while preparing for air training, he and his wingman were suddenly called back and informed that the training would be suspended. Instead, they were given a mission to investigate an object at a certain location in midair. According to Fravor, the controller never informed them about what the object was. In fact, the controller didn't know what it was either. And so, they were pretty much heading in blind. However, they were told that the strange object had been observed for over 2 weeks on the radars. It had a habit of coming down to an altitude of 20,000 feet to hang around in the air before going straight up to altitudes above 80,000 feet. Just so you know, at 80,000 feet altitude, you've entered outer space. So this object was coming down from space into the atmosphere and mysteriously retreating into space. Fravor and his team soon arrived at the location, and as they looked around, they saw some white water towards the right-hand side of the jet. Normally, a pilot could experience a mirage like this if it were a rainy or cloudy day. But that day was clear and bright, so this was no weather phenomenon. When Fravor and his teammates looked down, they saw a small white tic-tac object moving to and fro over the water like a ping-pong ball. It seemed strange because there were no rotors or control surfaces to make the ball move the way it did. Fravor decided to check out the tic-tac up close. It was hanging about 12,000 feet in the air, a little below them. But as they went close, the object turned and faced their direction as though it saw them coming. They moved closer to it, and just when they were within a half mile of it, the object suddenly accelerated in front of them and disappeared. Surprisingly, the white water object also disappeared at the same time. One of Fravor's wingmen, located 8,000 feet above them, also lost contact with the mysterious objects.
Basically explains that people, there's some weird stuff going on out here. And this is, 2023. I'm sure in 2024, there's going to be some more weird stuff going on. People are going to witness. I had my own experience a long time ago, but that's for another video. Watch the skies.